I'm acting as the middleman in a trade between someone with a couple of awesome PSA slabbed Charizards and somebody else with a cool rare PSA slabbed Metazoo promo. What better excuse do I need to make a little bit of content for you fine folks? We're going to talk about Charizards, we're going to talk about Metazoo promos, trading in collectibles, and middleman services, which I don't officially offer. Please don't mess me about it, but I'm doing it in this case because we're dealing with friends and patrons and customers, things like that. So this is everything you need to know about this fun little trade. Let's go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Argos Anonymous. I am Argos. Let's look at some Charizards, bro. You know, when you're talking about trading in collectibles, it can be really challenging trading peer-to-peer. Today we're so connected by social media. Everyone's on Discord, Facebook. Sometimes you've dealt with people countless times casually through text messaging, but you don't really know them. You don't know where they live. You don't know what they look like. You've had no real connection face to face, and it can be challenging, and potentially problematic to just mail someone your cards and hope that they will mail it back when you've worked out a trade. And that is where middleman services, or middlewoman, or middle person, whatever you want to say, come into play. And what that is where both people agree on a person in the middle of the trade, and then both people send their items to that middle person. That middle person evaluates everything, makes sure that it all looks good, right? And then gets the thumbs up from both parties, and then turns them around and sends them on their way. So I don't routinely act as a middleman in trading. Not something that I like to do, but sometimes I'll do it for patrons and friends and customers and stuff like that, which is fun. It's a nice little service. So trade number one. This is on one side of the table. Let's check this out. We have a Dark Charizard number 4 PSA 9 mint 2000 Pokemon Rocket Holo. This is a cool slab. People always obviously love the Charizards. You have that cool background hologram in this. It's not a PSA 10, but it's a beautiful PSA 9 and an old piece of Pokemon. This is worth a few $100s. This is a nice little Charizard in a PSA 9 from an old set. So very cool. So this is on one side. That's one of our Charizards, but that's not all. This gentleman is also trading a 2020 Pokemon. This is the Elite Trainer Box Pokemon Charizard. More recently, it is a PSA 10, gorgeous PSA 10, but a much more recently dropped Charizard. So I saw this on eBay for less than $100, but beautiful Charizard. So one gentleman wants to trade 2 slab Charizards, and I've checked the slabs to make sure they look good. There's no non-disclosed damage. I want to make sure there's no sign of tampering with the slabs or fake slabs. You always check these serial numbers, make sure they check out, that there's no shenanigans going on there. So I do that when I am a middleman. I am looking for authenticity, and I am looking for the condition, and I just want to make sure everyone's happy with it. So then I take video and I take pictures of the stuff and I send them to everybody. Here's what you got. Is this consistent with what you thought was going on? And then when I get the nod, cool, let's move to the next. So here's the Metazoo side of the trade. We have the 2022, which Metazoo hasn't been around a whole long. So your only options are 2021 and 2022 when it comes to PSA, because for whatever reason they don't count the Kickstarter cards as 2020, even though it says 2020 on the card. Fine. This is the New York City King Holo Times Square Redemption promo. This is a hilarious card. You had to get this card, you had to go to New York City and take a picture of yourself in front of the New York City, the Times Square billboard, where they had Metazoo advertisements, which I don't know if they still do, but for quite a while they had Metazoo ads up there for Wilderness. Anyway, if you did that and you sent a selfie of yourself to Metazoo Games, they would send you this promo. So these promos are they're a hot item. They are going on eBay right now for hundreds of dollars. One recently sold for $500 at the beginning of September. I've seen them for $400, $350. So this is a rare, valuable, popular Metazoo promo card. And so it seems like actually a nice trade. A couple of Charizards, one of which is an old rare slab, and the other one's a PSA 10, for really kind of a prized Metazoo promo with that nice Kryptonation Stars background there on the Rat King Feast, my friends. So what I do now is I have looked at the Rat King as well, and I've made sure that this looks good. It looks like it is an authentic Metazoo card. It passes all my authenticity tests through the slab. Of course, PSA, you hope they catch them, but you gotta, evaluate the card, not the slab. They say that in all games, right? So this looks good. The certification code checks out. Everything looks good. There was no like undisclosed damage. I took pictures of these. I sent them to everybody. Everyone's happy with it, right? So then what I do after I've received everything, I haven't taken any money yet, right? I don't even like to do this for money. I'm just doing this, I just want to help people out, right? So then after I've confirmed that everyone's happy, then I take pictures, I record everything, fine. Then I ask what kind of shipping they would like, and they just pay for that shipping, right? I don't do any shipping until it's all ready to go. But then they'll say some people want signature confirmation, some people want USPS because it's a PO box, some people want UPS because it's not, and they don't want it to get kicked down the street, right? Whatever their preferred preference is, I do it, they pay for it. Then I make labels and I send it on their way. And then I make a little video, right? This is, it's fun to be able to use this for content as well. But that is a middleman service. So what can go wrong is that if the reason, so why don't I offer middleman services routinely? Good question. I don't like to routinely act as a middleman in trades. One, just because I'm already very busy. But the reason is because there's liability in all things. Let's say that I do my job perfectly, right? Everyone does their job perfectly, but then when I send the card out to the final destination, it gets lost in the mail. Whose fault is that? Did I do? Maybe I packed it wrong. Maybe it wasn't secure. Maybe something else was wrong. Maybe it was stolen. Maybe it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? But like problems can come to find you. Or what if I send it out and they say there was a duck in the box, or like a rubber chicken? Like, I just don't want to, it's just, the problem is there's nothing in it for me, and I'm exposing myself to risk. And so, because you're exposing yourself to risk, if you're going to do a middleman service officially, you have to charge money for it, right? And you have to charge enough money, because most of the transactions will not be fraudulent. Most will be with normal, reasonable human beings. But there's a certain percentage that are just going to be with crazy people, or scammers, or just, just whatever, just bad eggs. This is how business is. So you need to charge enough of a premium on your service so that you're covered in the event of a dumpster fire problem, right? And you also have to consider your shipping method. Like USPS priority insures for like $100. Right, UPS is a certain amount. Send your confirmation is a certain amount. Like you have to think about what you're sending and think about the built-in insurance to protect yourself. And are you charging enough of a margin to build up enough of a buffer so that if something does go wrong, you can cover it? And maybe you won't offer middleman services for items worth over a certain amount because that goes outside of your risk premium threshold. Just things you should consider. And this is why I don't do it, because I have so many businesses already going. I'm trying to make content, I'm writing a blog, I operate a store, I have the Patreon, I have the Oasis Discord secondary market server for Metazoo. I have so many things going on. The last thing I want to do is start a middleman service for like a 5% fee or something like that. It's also why I don't routinely offer a PSA grading service as well, because I don't want to invest myself in the liability of handling all these different people's cards coming and going and sending them out and just dealing with like mailing issues or theft or fraud or bad eggs. It's just not worth it. I would have to make it worth it, I would have to charge too much money, and then nobody would want to do it because it's too expensive, and then I wouldn't have a job doing it anyway, so what's the point? Forget it. So I would love to know, what do you think about middleman services? Have you ever used one? Did you ever use a middleman and it went wrong? What about not using a middleman? Have you ever been involved in a trade where you mailed your cards out to someone out there and everything looked fine, but then they ripped you off? Or there was a misunderstanding, where you wish you had used a middleman? I'd love to hear it both ways. Or have you used a middleman and you have one you can recommend, like an official middleman? I give you license to pitch in the comments. Please don't pitch scammers. Don't pitch your buddy if he's a bad person. I'll research, I'll look it up. But if you know an official service with like a website, something bona fide, you can go ahead and pitch it in the comments. It might help people out, because it is not uncommon for people to request middleman services, especially with all these trades happening through Facebook and through Discord and through Instagram now, instead of, as people try to avoid Phoebe and like just the huge and increasing fees associated with online marketplaces, the peer-to-peer stuff is really gaining popularity, I think, progressively. So middleman services is just kind of, it's an interesting concept, and people would love to know kind of, I think, where to go. Share your stories in the comments. Share your stories with the New York King as well. Were you guys able to get this thing? I wasn't even able to, because I know some people tried to Photoshop themselves into a picture in front of the billboard, but I'm just too like deadbeat honest for that. I can't do it. So this is one of the few promos that I do not and may never own, because the price of it is like rapidly growing beyond what I'm willing to pay for it, though I do love it. It is very, very cool. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thank you, MetaFam, for stopping by. I always do appreciate this opportunity to entertain you fine peoples of Metazoo. Have a fantastic week. We're going to be following this with all kinds of just random updates. We have seance updates here and there. We have pricing and market updates. We have interesting action going on TCG player with a couple of Metazoo products that are definitely worth talking about. And then at some point, I'm going to dive into these cool Target blister promos and see if I can find myself a double stamped aura. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know it's worth the dive. That's all I got for now. This is Argos, signing out.